In the wrestling world, the people are represented by two separate but unequally important groups. The wrestlers and bookers, who literally do all the hard work, and the fans, who endlessly nitpick and overanalyze everything they do. These are their stories.
Hey! It's Warhorse, and you need to shut your mouth, open your eyes, and clean out your ears, because it's time to listen to the Raw and Order podcast. That's right, they're bringing you the best in all that meaty podcasty goodness in one, what is it, an hour? Two? Who cares? Who gives a shit? You need to listen to it right now, or else Warhorse is gonna, roll your ass!
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Listen to Warhorse. Listen or watch the Raw and Order Wrestling Podcast. It is that time again. Welcome back to the show. I am your host, Detective Mark Smarts, and I am joined, as always, by my partner in crime fighting, District Attorney Vincent Kayfabe. What's going on, man? How are you?
I am very, very impressed with your tagline. That's what I am. I didn't notice that earlier when we were chatting. That tagline is very nice and very evil.
We are also joined by our brother from up north, RCMP JLB. What's going on, man?
Hey, it goes good, Smarkshausen. It goes good. It goes good. Aside from Ronda Rousey and Goldberg being in the picture again, it goes good.
Yeah, that's good. That could be the entire show, to be perfectly honest. Is fucking it seems like it's every year that WWE just decides, well, it's fucking time to trot Goldberg out again.
It's almost like there's a contract involved, bud.
Contract schmontract, right? Here's the deal. If WWE wanted to, they could get out of that contract with Goldberg anytime they wanted, right? Those contracts are heavily favored for them, right? So they could just say, hey, Goldberg, we've decided we're not going to use you anymore, but they don't. Instead, they're like, oh, it's fucking February now. Looks like we got to trot Goldberg out for the show in Saudi Arabia and have him beat up on one of our biggest stars in a short amount of time.
Oh, he's not going to beat up on Roman. He ain't leaving that place with a belt.
I normally have been confident on it, but I don't know, because here's the deal. I even said this before Royal Rumble, and maybe even in the after Royal Rumble thing. I was 90% certain, still there's a part of me that is, that Brock is not winning the title at Elimination Chamber. But every week that goes on, every day that goes on, I get a little bit less certain on that. Like, there's part of me that thinks they're going to take the belt off of Bobby Lashley after a month and put it back on Brock just so they can have it be title versus title at WrestleMania. And what's bigger than Brock versus Roman? Brock versus Goldberg, title for title.
Which it was supposed to be technically, I think, like 3 years ago or something, or 2 years ago, right?
So, but anyways, we will get into all the podcasty meaty goodness of professional wrestling over the course of this next hour or two or whatever. Who gives a shit? But first, I always like to take this time to bring up that Raw and Order is part of the Tatnus Co. podcast network. So you can, once the show's over, go down to the doobly-doos. There's a link to tatnusco.com. Check out the other podcasts there. Tell them we sent you. Great shows there. So we're also looking to get Tatnus on probably for the WrestleMania recap review. So that's what we're kind of hoping for. So if you weren't around, it was a little over a year ago. Maybe 2 years ago, we did the Tatnus Co. show. Jesus, has it been 2 years now?
I think it was 2 years.
Time flies. Fuck.
We've been in this pandemic for a hot minute, so.
Yeah. But so we're going to try to get Tatnus on so we can talk WrestleMania.
And I feel like it was before pandemic, so definitely more than 2 years.
It might have. I mean, it was still, I do remember it was before we were live streaming because we were still using Skype to record, so.
Word.
But But so yeah, we're trying to get him on. He'll be able to tell you about his projects that he's got coming up, and then we'll talk about the shit show. I mean, the wonderful show that WrestleMania will be, because I'm super confident. But on this show, we're not talking about WrestleMania yet. Because it ain't happened yet. We're talking about this last week in professional wrestling. The good, the bads, the uglies of professional wrestling this week. So I open it up. Does anyone have a topic they want to talk about first and foremost? I mean, we already started talking about Goldberg, so if that's what we want to fucking go on.
We also started to talk about very nice, very evil already. And that's a good, fun way to start things off. But it's been now 2 weeks, not just one. So if we can't count the first week.
He did technically appear on Dynamite, and he cursed Jon Moxley, but it was not successful. Jon Moxley still won that match.
Very nice. Very evil. Will he be in a wrestling role do you think?
He will wrestle. He'll probably have a similar overall like first year to like an Orange Cassidy, where he starts off in a supporting role and then eventually gets moved into some wrestling here and there. You know, the simple fact is, anyone who's a Danhausen fan will tell you it'll be at a long time, if ever, before he's in the main event picture. He may not ever be in the main event picture, and most
designed that way.
And most fans of his would probably be fine with that, because his gimmick is designed around entertainment and not necessarily chasing the gold. I mean, it's chasing the teeth and the monies. But what he will do is he'll sell an absolute shit ton of merch. I'm talking a metrics shit ton, none of this standard American shit.
No.
Because I think when I checked, and I'll have to check again, but his shirt was one of the top selling shirts.
Second to CM Punk ever for AEW on debuting week.
It was. I what I don't know is if it stayed there, because the last time I checked, he still had like 2 days left in the week. And so
very elite, very evil.
yeah.
And it's a nice shirt. It was a nice shirt. I almost considered purchasing one. Almost.
Yeah. It's a nice shirt. I kind of wish they would have brought some of his, because he's got a Pro Wrestling Tees store that has its own merch up on it. And none of it has AEW on it because it's from before. But he had one where he recreated the CM Punk logo, but instead of stars, it was teeth, because he usually comes to the ring with a jar of teeth, and then his face in the middle. It's pretty epic. But yeah, I don't know. I'd have to check to see if it ended up being second or beating out CM Punk, but either one way or another, it's close.
I got a perfect crime. We'll start it off wholehearted and light. All right, ladies and gentlemen, probably one of the best matches that it is going to be. It is going to be woo-tacular. Ladies and gentlemen, Naomi gets a championship match next week on SmackDown versus Charlotte Flair.
I thought you said this was going to be a fun one.
It's a fun one. It's a fun, lighthearted one.
It's got Charlotte Flair and Naomi in it.
Naomi. Well, I mean, so obviously they are going to, I imagine, continue this.
Did you know Naomi spelled backwards is I moan?
Is what?
Spell it yourself.
I moan.
That's fair. Yes, so I imagine they're going to take the Naomi Sonya Deville thing to Mania. Is that what they're doing? Unless it's going to be a Saudi Arabia thing, because she's obviously not going to win against Flair. Rousey is going to somehow interfere in that, because they keep flipping and flopping over the Rousey scenario. Is she facing Becky? Is she facing Flair? Now we know she's facing Flair, and I still think that was like a last-minute decision.
Maybe, just maybe, WWE will realize that triple threats at WrestleMania tend to be pretty good. They're not 100%, but do tend to be pretty good. And maybe they'll make that into a triple threat, which would allow them to build a Charlotte-Ronda Rousey feud over something other than the title. They haven't built a good feud over something other than a title in a long time.
Well, we both know that can't happen since Rousey just won her Royal Rumble. So if they were thinking that, hey, guess what? Rousey wouldn't have won the freaking Rumble.
Why would they do that? They did it to Batista with Daniel Bryan.
Well, I think JLB's argument is if they were planning on building a feud that wasn't title related, they wouldn't have had Rousey win the Royal Rumble because they would have needed the excuse of her getting a title.
Yeah. No, I don't think they'll actually do that. They have an opportunity to pivot with these overrated characters.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in a little bit.
Yeah.
And then you degrade Sasha Banks by Flair saying, I guess I'll pick someone who's not even here, Sasha Banks. Like, I'm just like, bro, why do you keep downgrading your talent? I did enjoy the My Baby is More Beautiful Than Yours with her pointing to the belt in classic Charlotte Flair heel character. You don't watch SmackDown. Do you know what I'm referring to?
No.
Okay, so basically, she said Rousey was saying, "Hey, I didn't travel on a plane through a storm with my baby just to chat. I'm ready to fight." And then Flair makes a remark, "Well, my baby is prettier than yours," kind of thing, and that makes Rousey get all mad. And
I gotta be honest, even if I did watch SmackDown live, I probably would have
tuned out that segment.
It was a great burn just for Charlotte. It was the last segment, though. So.
Okay, yeah. Then I would have been putting my daughter to bed, because I don't give a fuck about Charlotte or Ronda Rousey.
I just thought it was a great line. Me neither. Right. Both of Rousey's segments were god awful. She just doesn't care. Like, give me a person. I think I said this last week too. Give me some kind of personality.
Very evil.
Very, very Natalia-esque with her personality. Like,
there's another piece. I set another world record.
Which I don't even get what she set. What world record did she set?
Most appearances in the Women's Royal Rumble.
Okay. And it's going to be in the Guinness Book of World Records? That's a thing that's going to happen too? Like, she's in the book of Guinness Book of World Records?
It's a verified record.
Yeah. She is
you can be on the Guinness website without being in the book, in the published book.
Yeah.
She was showing the book though on SmackDown.
Well, maybe they're going to publish it. There's only so many Royal Rumbles, bud.
Yeah. She also holds, as of November 2021, the world record for most WWE wins in a career for a female. At the time, it was 641.
And most WWE losses in a career.
Yeah.
For a female.
And that was the third world record that she had. And now she's got a fourth. So...
I think I have. Oh no, but it wouldn't be that book.
Was it eliminations or appearances?
I'm still trying to find.
Anyway, I mean, what a shit way to say, "Hey, you buried me," but I've been here forever. Ha 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 ha. Sorry, Uncle Brett. Where did he go?
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I only have the 2021.
Guinness World Record for most non-Americans in a match at Madison Square Garden. Apparently, she also has that. So she's got 5 world records now.
5 world records.
Yeah.
One tied with others.
But, again, that's another snooze fest. Don't care about. I mean.
Oh, it was the worst segment. Like, Here's my segment that frustrated me this week. If you're Kevin Owens, how do you feel? You just signed this contract. They won't even put you in Elimination Chamber, man.
Oh, I'm sure
and you're Seth Rollins' bitch.
I'm sure he's crying himself to sleep on his $2 million a year. This is his pillow made of solid gold. I mean, I guess I'd cry if I had a pillow made of solid gold. That's gotta be hard.
Well, I mean, it's softer than other metals. At least it's not iron.
Yeah, could be a pillow made of lead because then it hurts and gives you cancer.
Non-malleable.
But anyways, so I will pivot to talking about something that I think pivot to talk about something that I think we will all say we enjoyed, and that's AEW Dynamite. And there may be nitpicky things here and there about Dynamite, and then Rampage is also. But it started off with the Wheeler Yuta versus Jon Moxley match, which was supposed to be Brian Kendrick versus Jon Moxley. But we might get into the shitstorm that was Brian Kendrick's week later. But Wheeler Yuta versus Jon Moxley was a heck of a match. It really was.
That was
good.
a fire match.
And I've liked Wheeler Yuta ever since they started using him. I think, kind of shoehorning him into the best friends. I don't know if that was the best usage of him, but I think after this was what I want to give AEW like all the credit in the world for this. I don't want to say swerved us, but swerved us, right? I don't know a single person who, going up to this week, didn't think they were building to a Jon Moxley versus Bryan Danielson match, right?
Or Samuelson, if you want to.
Or Brian Samuelson, yeah.
Great comedic character.
I think that is going to happen, though. They're not going to be a tag team.
It might eventually, but this was still such a swerve to have Bryan Danielson come out and instead of challenging Jon Moxley to a match, say, I want to team up with you. I want to start, for lack of a better term, raising the next generation of wrestlers with you. Think how great it could be if you and I started training Wheeler Yuta or Daniel Garcia or, and instantly I was like, oh, no, I do want to see that. Mm-hmm. I want to see that right away.
I did say that as well. But I was like,
that's what I want.
Team?
Give it. I don't care about the tag team part. In the end, it's the mentorship, right? Effectively, they can be like Sting to these younger ones.
It's Sting!
They can be like Stang to these people, and come out and maybe occasionally team with them, sort of a thing. But team with the younger people. But be like Arn Anderson and Sting, these older generation wrestlers who come out, mentor these ones, and lead them to greatness, and effectively be a better version of the Matt Hardy gimmick right now. The Matt Hardy gimmick is I'm taking these people under my wing and I'm going to earn lots of money. This is no, I'm taking people under my wing and I'm going to teach them how to be better wrestlers. And I just like, you give me that. That's what I want. I want to see that. Please, please, please.
I just don't see Moxley doing it, which is why it's just not going to work. Like I could see Brian Danielson doing this no problem, but Moxley is just kind of like not a mentor kind of guy. Kind of guy like, I'll do whatever the hell I want, So.
I think Moxley can be whatever kind of a guy he wants to be. And if he wants to be a mentor, he will mentor, and I'm just totally fine with that. But one way or another, even if it doesn't last very long, even if it's a short-term thing, I mean, AEW has shown us they've got no problems doing something over a long term, right? And so this could be something that the actual fight between Danielson and Moxley might be months off. They might have a 3-month period where they're mentoring kids, and then eventually they start to break down because Danielson wants to mentor them more in technical wrestling, and Moxley wants to mentor them more in brawling. And
hey man, if they don't know how to bleed, they can't do this.
Yeah, and ultimately it's an ideological battle between them, and they start fighting over that, and then eventually they have a match at Full Gear or All Out or whatever later on in the year. I can see that, but right now I want to see Wheeler Yuta, instead of hanging out with the best friends anymore, hanging out with them. I want to see Daniel Garcia. That I don't know if there's much in AEW I want to see more than that. But yeah, I'm all for that. I'm 100% for that. The other thing that happened, well, I mean, there are a bunch of things happened on AEW, but the big other thing was the 40-minute long fucking main event between MJF and CM Punk. And it was everything I think we hoped it would be and more. I have one minor nitpicky thing to give it, one absolutely minor thing, and it's so minor I don't even want to necessarily say it's a negative. I think they could have handled the first he goes out better. And the first win better. I think there's a better way they could have handled it. But it's so minor. It's so minor. I don't even want to talk about it. It was fucking everything it needed to be. Because now MJF can be so smarmy. And he's already been this way on Twitter. Just so smarmy saying, I beat you twice. I didn't just beat you once. I beat you twice that night. Yeah. And because of that, I am better than you. The only thing that didn't come to fruition with that particular feud, that particular match, was the Wardlow. And they really teased it again, but then in the end, Wardlow was the one who helped him win the final match. And I was so certain that this was going to be the payoff to the Wardlow finally turning on him. But they're apparently going to keep that going a little bit longer. So,
yeah, that's kind of the only thing. I guess it was a nice swerve because I truly did expect Wardlow to basically turn. Wasn't crazy on the ending of how with the ring, but whatevs. It was all right, I guess. It's just it unlike WWE, this at least goes with how MJF is in the storyline.
Yeah, I think the only thing with the ring, I think on air it could have been less subtle, right? Because they actually had to play the replay for us to see that Wardlow was the one who actually dropped him in the ring. And I think if they really would have done it, wanted to do it better, they would have had it so that the camera was back and saw that he dropped the ring to him. But that's another like nitpicky thing.
That ring is way more badass than like every set of brass knucks ever.
Yeah, it's
I mean, it is a seriously potent punch, apparently.
Yeah, it's bonkers, is what it is.
Oh my gosh!
But
yeah, I would say the reduced dose of Adam Colby Bay was probably the biggest fault in AEW. Not that it wasn't not that he wasn't there. It just. That's a dude I like watching all the time. All the time.
Yeah, he was on Rampage.
Yeah.
And a good segment for him. I kind of assumed that the Rampage match was going to be relatively short, and it was. If only because Rampage is just a 1 hour show, and they announced 4 matches for the show prior to Rampage, and I'm like, okay, something is not going to take very long, or maybe multiple things will not take very long.
Yeah.
And a couple things didn't take very long. There's one thing on the Dynamite show that I want to talk about. A lot of people are calling it a botch. If you watched, you might also call it a botch. I don't think it was a botch. I think it was intended, but I do think that commentary could have been a little bit better about it. And this wasn't in MJF. This was actually in the Ruby Soho versus Nyla Rose match. And it featured into the finish. Ruby Soho went to deliver her, I can't remember what she calls it now in AEW. It was the Riot Kick. But the Riot Kick, Nyla Rose was sitting on the top turnbuckle, and Ruby Soho grabbed her arm and tried to pull her out and kick her in the face. And missed and hit the ground, and leading to Nyla Rose being able to capitalize and hit the Beast Bomb and all that stuff for the win. But what I don't think it's a botch is if you look back at the prior match, the match during the tournament that Nyla Rose lost to Ruby Soho. She did the same move, but she pulled Ruby Soho off the turnbuckle. So, not Ruby, she pulled Nyla's off the top turnbuckle. Nyla's head came out a full 1.5 feet forward, and she kicked her on her way down.
Yeah.
And with this, Nyla grabbed the ropes and didn't come forward. And so Ruby whiffed on the kick and landed. A lot of people thought it was a botch. I think if commentary had been a little bit clearer about saying, hey, look at this. This is the way Ruby beat her before. Looks like Nyla was prepared for it this time and didn't allow herself to get pulled off, leading to Ruby missing the kick.
Well, and again, that's how you cover for those during the matches. That makes such a big difference there. So, it was again. You're right. If that's the worst thing that happens on your screen, it's not such a bad thing. It just isn't. And so, I don't know. I mean, Dynamite's doing Dynamite stuff.
Yeah, it was.
Play
so
Dynamite
good.
games, get Dynamite prizes. That actually works.
Yeah. Rampage was good. Adam Cole versus Evil Uno, short match, but it was. I mean, did we really expect Evil Uno to beat Adam Cole? No.
Well, I mean, after Daniel Bryan mentioned Evil Uno during the thing, I'm like, oh, maybe Bryan will somehow kind of help Evil Uno do something on Rampage, and thus already Daniel Bryan setting in motion of his mentorship. But no, good match. I was really shocked by how well I liked the Starks Guevara match too.
You mean the Starks versus Jay Lethal match?
Jay Lethal, excuse me.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Starks Jay Lethal match. Guevara was versus Isaiah Cassidy, and that was also a great match. So
Also a good match too.
Those are good matches, and that led to probably the only like real down I can give AEW last week, and it's really more a down to Tony Khan, because in true Carney fashion, Tony Khan promoted Rampage, saying that I'm going to have an announcement during Rampage tonight. And that announcement came on Twitter during Rampage, because of course Tony Khan's not an active character in AEW.
Right.
But it was after the Sammy Guevara versus Isaiah Cassidy match, Tony Khan announced that the Forbidden Door is not closed, it is wide open, and this coming Wednesday, someone is going to walk through the Forbidden Door from another company and take place in the first round in the face of the company, or face of whatever, face of the Revolution. That's what it is. Face of the Revolution ladder match, that's tournament that's going to happen at Revolution. And he's going to face Isaiah Cassidy, and the winner of the Face of the Revolution tournament goes on to a ladder match against Sammy Guevara at Revolution. I think that's the way it is. But so that led to all the speculation. But the problem is he pre-announced this before, and so everyone was expecting there to be like an announcement on Rampage of something, and it just kind of comes out on Twitter, and it's not even really an announcement. It's just an announcement that, hey, tune in next week to Dynamite. And so that makes some people a little bit I'm not super about it, but I think it's something to at least be
Oh, I mean, I don't follow his Twitter that religiously, so I didn't know. I watched Rampage. Okay, you're gonna have
it was
an
being reported on.
thing.
I don't follow his Twitter so much as like the wrestling news Twitters went all up that were like but
I feel like it's gonna be a disappointment, and it's just gonna be Cody Rhodes re-signing.
no, I guarantee you it's not, because he specifically said a person from
From
another
company.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah. And more than that, he said, and that person may burn the bridge with their company, something along the lines of that.
Maybe Jeff
Hardy, and then Matt Hardy also had like an extreme video for 2 minutes. I'm gonna go extreme and da da da. So it's probably Jeff.
It could be Jeff. I would like to also point out that Will Ospreay is in the country, actively feuding on Twitter with both John Moxley and Kenny Omega. And so there's a chance it could be Will Ospreay. Chance. Jay White's in the country.
I go Jeff Hardy.
I'm just throwing out because I can't say it's not Jeff Hardy. I can't say it's not anyone. I can say that it's someone. But these are people that it could, because Jay White's currently wrestling in Impact Wrestling, and he's part of New Japan Bullet Club. Tama Tonga is apparently over here, who's part of Bullet Club in New Japan.
Yeah, but they're playing with New Japan already. And so it does imply, if you're going to burn the bridge, that you're lighting it on fire. Like,
yeah,
it implies that it's an active WWE, which would be ballsy.
There is one person who could come from another company and burn a bridge with that company. That is in the same vein as a Jeff Hardy, as in coming from WWE, but that's Keith Lee. Because Keith Lee, when he comes, I fully expect him to light that bridge on fucking fire.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Molotov cocktail. Like, just boom.
Yeah.
A newly married Keith Lee, mind you.
Yes. Congratulations to Keith Lee and Mia Yim. Mia Lee. Yeah, she better keep her.
Ooh, I like Mia Lee. That's a fun name.
That is a fun name.
But yeah.
I thought Mia Yim's not. Just sounds better.
Yeah.
But so yeah, congratulations for them for their nuptials.
Oh,
looks like there are quite a lot of people at that. So who knows how many bridges?
Well, I think. Well, I mean, I think 50 is like a thing, right? So I think now it's 50 is open. So it could have been 50.
No, but I'm talking about specifically people that we knew there. I said there were quite a lot of people that we knew at that. So like current wrestlers for WWE that we know are unhappy. Like I'm pretty sure Ali was there.
Right. Yeah, I heard Twitter mentioning Mustafa Ali. I'm like, guys, he's not going to pay off any contracts. Like, it's going to be someone that either is almost done or whatever, like who's already been fired. Not, he's not going to, Ali. Khan is not going to pay off Mustafa Ali's contract to just get him. Like, that's not a big enough name per se. The fans would love to see him, but they're not.
I agree. I don't think he is, but I do think him being there is a sign that he's seriously talking about it. So, To answer this question, came along in the chat. We do not take phone calls, but we do take chat questions. So feel free to pop in the chat. And
the reason you couldn't see me is I turned off my cam.
Yeah, turned off his cam for a moment.
So it got a little less beautiful. I'm sorry. There's nothing we can do about that.
So yep. But if you have any questions, pop them in the chat. We'll try to answer them or talk about them. What I wanted to share really quickly here, just to because I know that JLB said he didn't follow Tony Khan's Twitter much. I just pulled up Tony Khan's Twitter so we can see the exact wording of the phrase, right? So it's right here in the middle. He says, with the great showing tonight on AEW Rampage, TNT title bout, Isaiah Cassidy has earned a qualifying match for a spot in the Face of the Revolution ladder match with a TNT title shot at stake. His opponent will debut Wednesday and sign a contract with AEW. Isaiah versus question mark on AEW Dynamite. And then underneath it, the Forbidden Door can be opened for anyone from any wrestling promotion in the world, whether or not it's a company AEW is on good terms with, even if it's someone from a company that's open for business. They are also welcome to slam the door in the face of their prior company.
I still think it's Cody Rhodes. It's going to be that disappointing.
I do not, because I think there's a longer storyline they're telling with Cody Rhodes, and that is too quick of a finish to that storyline. I think
Sammy is still the TNT champion, correct?
Sammy is still the TNT title. It's important, or maybe not. I don't know. It's interesting to note he's still coming out wearing 2 belts. He unified the interim, but he's still wearing 2 belts for whatever reason. I don't know why. Because I'd just go back to the 1 belt, because that's the better looking of the 2 belts anyway. So
correct.
But anyways, but yeah, no, it's going to be someone. I'm gonna say I'm 900% certain it's not Cody Rhodes. I know. If this is
900.
900.
Damn.
Yes.
Not you aren't the full 1,000 though.
Not a full 1,000.
9 times the impossible exception.
9 times the impossible, but not 10 times the impossible.
Correct.
Okay.
Sure.
Here's my argument. Here's what I say. If this was WWE, I would be 100% saying it's probably Cody. It's probably. But Tony Khan has shown over the years that he doesn't like to book those sorts of things, right? That's the type of sports entertainment that he tries to avoid. This Cody segment is going to play out with Cody eventually getting a contract, but he's not going to hype Cody as a new person coming from another company. He's not going to do that because Cody is not new and he's not coming from another company.
No, at least.
He is at best, he is coming from free agency. And so if it was Cody, Tony Khan would have said a free agent is coming in. But he's not. He specifically said coming in from another company.
He just said he's just opening it up, saying, "Hey, anybody could come in from any company. Doesn't matter." Not necessarily that the AEW Dynamite is from any.
He also said will be debuting with the company.
He did say that. That you're correct. That's Jeff Hardy.
So it could be Jeff Hardy. I'm not saying it's not Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy is 100%.
Jeff Hardy is them stepping on the non-compete, whereas Keith Lee is not. And thus far, they haven't touched a non-compete.
Yeah,
but maybe they're okay with paying the legal fines for the non-compete.
Well, the simple fact is, if anyone currently in the wrestling business could take on Vince McMahon's contract, it would be Tony Khan, right? And so I would not
specifically with Jeff Hardy because they cited the potential for they implied drug use being the reason for his release.
even without that, Tony Khan has a very solid standing of saying that this 90-day no compete is illegal. He's got very solid standing on that. If it goes to court, if it actually goes to court, he would probably win. The simple fact is no competes actually rarely hold up in courts in America, just in general, right? And then when you add into it the fact that he's classified as an independent contractor, that really makes the no compete almost null and void. The only reason that people abide by it so far is A, it's usually easier to just do it than fight it, and B, money, right? If you don't have the money to fight it, right, to go to court, hire a lawyer, go to court, all of that stuff, it easily could take longer than 90 days to fight your no compete. But Tony Khan, for a star of the caliber of Jeff Hardy, Tony Khan could pull out the pocketbook and say, "Listen, we'll have you debut,
especially pending a ladder match.
Mm-hmm. We'll have you debut. We will see what's going on, and And if WWE wants to, I mean, because here's the deal: 90% chance WWE would not actually take it to court.
Yeah, well, I mean, so the grounds for that is okay. Well, you have to pay us the amount that we were going to pay you in that time frame, for that time frame of that non-compete, and some type of punitive damages. Let's pretend that WWE wins that battle. If that's the case, that dollar amount can't be. That dollar amount may very well be lower than the draw that is Jeff Hardy in a ladder match. Just the draw that is Jeff Hardy in a ladder match. I mean, we still get excited for it. So, I my wager's on Jeff Hardy, but for other people, they may very well still be saying Keith Lee.
Mm-hmm. Karrion Kross could be an option. I think I found something about Karrion Kross that might hold him back, but that's another thing altogether. Apparently, it's come out that the main reason that Karrion Kross and Scarlett were let go had to do with anti-vax stance, the same reason that they let Nia Jax go.
Gotcha.
And I could see Tony Khan being not entirely cool with that in his locker room either. Because he, of the promoters, has taken, protection of his other employees to heart. And as someone who also is part owner of an NFL football team, as well as part owner of a British football team, soccer team, football, I could see him being like 100% saying, nope, we're not going to put up with that, you either.
We're not going to take it.
Either saying just, hey, if you don't want to be vaccinated, you have to do negative tests every week before you can perform. And, apparently WWE, that wasn't good enough. Maybe it's good enough in AEW. I don't know. But
well, I'm sure it was part of that was it wasn't good enough for those stars.
Mm-hmm. Well, and ultimately, I think it comes down to if Roman Reigns, and I'm not saying he would be, in fact, we 100% know Roman Reigns wouldn't be this way, but if Roman Reigns, one of your top stars, came in and said, I'm not going to be vaccinated or whatever, Vince McMahon might be willing to bend, right? If Brock Lesnar said...
Brock Lesnar is the better example, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to be vaccinated.
Give me a test before you're flying. Give me a test when you get here.
Yeah, show me some negative tests and it'll be good. But Keith Lee and Nia Jax were not to that level of stardom. And therefore, Keith Lee and Nia Jax both find themselves looking for employment. So, looks like we lost JLB for a moment.
Okay.
He just dipped out. I don't know why.
I put my hand up on your hip. When I dip, you dip, we dip.
So he's going to miss me debuting.
Damn you, Gunther.
Damn you, Gunther. Make it a little bit bigger. Go this way. Damn you, Gunther.
Which has little to do with Gunther, but it's very funny that it has Gunther on it.
Yep.
Do we want to tell the story?
You can get it in pink. Or orange. It's really more of a yellow. I think they call that sun yellow.
Gold, maybe?
Sun yellow, they call it. It's kind of an orangey yellow. You can get it in Zello Pro Green.
You could. You can get it in
or
Violet
Blue. SmackDown Blue. Yeah. Purple. Anyways,
is there an NXT tie-dye?
Let's see here, because I'm relatively
I think we'd have to change shirts for that.
Let's see.
DMU Gunther. So the story behind DMU Gunther was we watched. I follow some TikToks, amongst which is the Melwani family, and Mr. Melwani told his wife a joke about what is the square. He asked his German friend what the square root of 81 was. And he said,
and the joke is said, it's an old joke. No. What is the square root of?
Right, either way.
Yeah, it's 9. But if you're German and you don't know the answer, you would say
no
9. No 9. So that's the joke.
But then he said, "Oh, damn, you got there."
Yeah, but in the end, he said what? You know what he said? He said no.
He said no.
The German guy said no.
He didn't say 9.
He didn't say 9.
He'd been right if he said 9.
Damn you, Gunther.
Damn you, Gunther.
So, trying to find.
And it was just very. So I heard Gunther, and I immediately went, "Hey, got to tell these guys about that." And Smarks turned it into Smarkshausen turned it into a shirt. Can you get the leg or the pajamas with the pants and everything in grown-up size?
Yep, sure can. Up to 2XL, which isn't going to fit you probably, but
I might. It would just be a unique fit.
It would be very, very tight. You would look like you're wearing skinny jeans.
Damn you, Gunther.
Okay.
There it is. You can get it in NXT tie-dye. Right there.
Yeah.
What a great shirt for NXT.
SmackDown tie-dye. Damn you, Gunther.
This segment brought to you by shop.spreadshirt.com.
Yes.
Want to sell t-shirts? Think you have great ideas to put on shirts?
Yes.
Go shop.spreadshirt.com and buy a shirt from us and then go do it.
Yep. So, anyway.
That's
all I wanted to do there. I did also want to talk about AEW having what it turns out was actually their 4th disqualification. I thought it was their 3rd, but I was reminded that there was a DQ that I'd totally forgotten about on AEW Dark like a year ago. And so they actually, all this time I was saying they only had 1 DQ, they actually had 2. But then they had a DQ not too long ago.
Yes, that was CM Punk.
CM Punk coming out and DQing.
Getting MJF DQ'd.
Yeah, getting MJF DQ'd. And then they had a DQ in the Mercedes Martinez versus who was it match. Totally forgot who she was fighting. AEW Dynamite. Who was it? Mercedes Martinez versus. I gotta scroll back a little bit. Or was it on Rampage? It was on Rampage. That's what it was. Mercedes Martinez versus Thunder Rosa. Mercedes Martinez pulled out steel pipe and hit Thunder Rosa over the head with it and got DQ'd.
Oh.
And so here we went from having basically 0 DQs to having a few in a row, which totally means that TK is listening to this show and heard me talk about how you need to have some DQs so disqualification does matter. You can't
yes, that's exactly what happened.
It's entirely what it means. It's 100% what it means. TK listens to this show.
We do take phone calls from TK.
Yeah, if TK wants to call us, just send us a message, and I'll take a phone call with TK.
Hell, we'll take a call from Vince. Damn it!
Yeah.
Gunther.
It'll be a less pleasant phone call, but we'll take one. Damn you, Gunther. By the way, hashtag not sponsored, but this new Mountain Dew Spark, some good shit.
Good and shit don't really go together.
It is good shit. It is not bad shit.
It's not bad shit?
Yes.
Good shit.
Well, while waiting for maybe JLB to come back.
Yeah, we don't even know if he's here. I'll message him. You go go ahead and talk.
We're going to go ahead and do our pack opening for the week. We have 8 packs remaining. Once again, this is the WWE Heritage 2021 trading cards. I bought a pack that had 11 packs in it. We've opened 3 packs so far, so we're going to open another pack. So pick a number between 1 and 8.
1.
1. Top pack right away. Boom. So far, we have only had one person who is no longer with the company show up. And that was Karrion Kross in last week's pack. So...
yeah, I wasn't even here for that.
Maybe you're the good luck. Maybe you're the one who keeps us from opening the pack. So, first card.
Jeff Hardy. Never mind.
No. We just got done talking about Natalya. I'm super excited for that card.
What's her career like? Is she at 15 years yet? I feel like she is.
I don't even know if these say anything. Remember, like, baseball cards and football cards when we were younger? They always had stats on the back and all that shit. These don't. They do say she's apparently 5'5" and from Calgary, Alberta, Canada, which, we fucking knew. Hey, there's JLB back, audio only, apparently.
Yeah, I don't know. My computer just randomly restarted, and I'm scared that it might be because of my camera. So you'll hear my lovely voice.
It's okay.
What did I miss?
Well, we opened the pack. That's the big thing you missed. And first card was Natalya.
Oh,
yay!
I didn't miss much then.
Nope. Second card. Well, we did talk about some other stuff, but second card, Chad Gable.
Hey.
First card of our
stupidest segment of the world, but sure.
It's the segment that I look forward to every week.
Jesus.
First of our Allen and Ginter ones. Typhoon.
Oh, nice. Typhoon. Sweet.
Second of our Allen and Ginter, I believe, is our first duplicate. Because I believe...
14
no, it's not.
Years.
It's not.
14 years Natty's been with WWE.
I thought we had it, but I must be getting it confused.
And she has 2 championships to show for it?
Well, be more entertaining.
Second, Allen and Ginter. The alternate.
Hey, that's one who's no longer under WWE contract.
Technically,
Wow.
Typhoon's not under WWE contract anymore, but
Warriors for other reasons.
a sticker card of Randy Orton.
Wait, that's a sticker?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Going on the back of my car.
Jesus.
Hey, the second of the, let's say, current wrestlers who are no longer under WWE contract. The Fiend Bray Wyatt. And the last card, a still superhero, Nikki ASH.
That was another bad match on Raw. Jesus.
Bad segment just in general. Still
Evil superhero though. That's a unique gimmick play. That's never been done before.
Yeah.
But you gotta give them props for something.
But so
they're trying new things.
Yeah.
Okay. The other thing you missed
every so often
was me debuting the Damn You Gunther shirt on the show. Live on air.
Oh, nice.
And then talking about the fourth DQ in AEW history when Mercedes Martinez hit Thunder Rosa with a steel pipe on Rampage.
Oh, it was a pipe bomb.
Yeah, I'd say fourth because I was reminded online that there was one DQ that I was forgetting about. So all the time that I was saying they'd only had one DQ, and that was in the Iron Man match, they actually had a second one. Technically, it was a double DQ though, so maybe it turned.
Remind me, because I don't remember.
It was in the Brandon Cutler versus Peter Avalon, who's gonna win their first match feud.
This is why I don't remember.
And it was on AEW Dark, and it was a double DQ. So neither of them got the win, and the feud had to continue one more week, and lead to a no disqualification match where one of them had to get the victory.
Man, that's a shame though, because Brandon Cutler is a great wrestler.
Here's the we'll talk about it a bit. It did come out this week that that Peter Avalon is still apparently under AEW contract. He has directly addressed that. Where we were talking last week that he was apparently not anymore, but he is directly responded to it saying he is still under AEW contract. And that being said, it made me think what they really need to do is start a new feud, because the best time most people would say that Peter Avalon had in AEW was when he was in the who's going to win their first match feud with Brandon Cutler. So I said, here's what they need to do. Peter Avalon just starts showing up anytime the Elite come out in his own tracksuit with his own cold spray and his own camera and trying to out-stooge the stooge Brandon Cutler and take Brandon Cutler's spot.
Oh my God, have him wear the mask and everything.
Yeah, the mask and everything, the face shield, but
he has hair, so let him have his hair.
Yeah,
don't have him like try and copy Brandon Cutler.
Just try to out-stooge the stooge. Mm-hmm. I'll be a better stooge. Look, I'll come out, I'll do this. And then it can lead to times when they're battling on the outside and therefore Brandon Cutler misses a chance to interfere in the match to help so-and-so win, Nick win or whatever. I just see that as such a good feud to go forward.
At least they'd use them. I would be down for that.
But here's hoping. Otherwise, like Dynamite was good, Rampage was good, Raw not so good. And the sad thing is, usually the Raw after Royal Rumble is okay.
Well, I mean, the KO match was good with Theory.
Yeah, except for the wrong dude won.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
You had a built-in, this is why Brock lost, because they ganged up on him. Have it start with Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins. Have them turn on each other when only Bobby Lashley is left to come in. Bobby Lashley gets the win.
Mm-hmm. Of course, you had Ronda Rousey come out and talk smack to the crowd and deliver a boring promo. And then...
is she just not the worst?
She is so bad.
The saving grace was Becky
disgusted. And then Becky taking over and basically saving that whole segment after Ronda left and making it at least watchable, with eventually Lita coming out and challenging her to a match at, I think that it's going down in Saudi Arabia.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that either.
Yeah, I mean, how are we going to get to see Whale
in the
Tail?
90s, you may as well do it with 90s wrestlers, so we got Goldberg and Lita.
Yeah,
well,
but
I mean,
what use is Lita wrestling with no Whale Tail? That's all I'm saying.
She didn't have Whale Tail.
Maybe she'll bring the thong back.
But she can't in Saudi Arabia.
Oh,
T-shirt.
It's because she's going to be wearing a long sleeve T-shirt and long pants and
maybe she'll have like a thong print,
a fake whale tail on it.
Yeah,
That would be hilarious.
It would be pretty funny.
Would it be enough to make you watch that?
No, it will not be.
So is Chamber on a weekday then now?
No, Saturday.
Is it on Saturday? Because the previous Saudi Arabia ones were like on Thursdays.
Thursdays. Yeah, they obviously, this is a side note, but WWE's done a good job of honoring the holy day for Islam in Saudi Arabia and staying off of Fridays. So, but
yeah,
Thursdays are a tough watch for a lot of people.
So it's Saturday at noon for us, which I guess is 12 hours evening. Okay, yeah, so
late evening.
Yeah, just late evening. But yeah, so this will, as far as I can remember, this is the first one to take place on a weekend. I'm still not going to watch it, but it's.
I think they had a couple Sunday ones.
I don't think they've had one. I'll look.
I feel like it was always on the weekday.
I think it was always on Thursday. All the previous ones were on Thursday. But I'll look it up here while we talk about something else here in a second. But this one, because here's the deal: is I remember it was no big deal for me to say I couldn't watch it. I wasn't going to watch it on the previous ones because they always happened during a time when I was going to be at work anyways. So. You know,
this time I'm gonna be at work. Gee golly.
So will I.
It's okay. It's gonna be on the WWE Network forever until But I don't think I'm gonna watch.
It won't be on the WWE Network in the United States.
I'm sure Peacock will play it a bunch of times.
It will be on Peacock because we don't have a WWE Network anymore.
Because gotta get the veggies.
But if you are in Indonesia, it will be on Disney Plus.
Disney Plus. I'm so curious how Disney Plus's Indonesia looks like. I got to VPN that sometime.
Well, great Wikipedia. You give me the dates, but you don't tell me what the days they were. So now I gotta.
Now you got to open up your calendar.
Yeah. Fortunately, I got a new phone this week, so
that does make it unique. It does make you wonder where that contract's going to finally land when the company sells, and they are obviously selling.
Well, not according to Tony Khan. Nick Khan, excuse me.
Nick Khan says we are not currently talking to anyone.
Right.
He was very clear on his wording to say that if the right offer came in, they would sell, but they are not currently talking, which is executive speak for, come on, guys, throw us a real offer.
We're going to talk publicly about the fact that $5 billion is not enough for a failing product.
Yeah, because... I mean, ultimately, it comes down to
ratings.
So yeah, the first one was on a Friday. And
you just said that we're going to respect their religious.
Well, but it was actually broadcast to us in late evening. That one that was on a Friday.
And I think they even did a prayer thing.
It was a Saturday morning for them.
Oh, okay. Because I think they even did a prayer thing too, though halfway through the show.
So. They may have, but yeah, it was actually a Saturday. It was broadcast to us in late evening. That first one was, because I do remember that as well.
The second one was also a Friday.
So another Saturday morning one for Saudi Arabia. I promise they are not interfering with the prayer schedules in Saudi Arabia at all.
Well, I thought that's why they took like an intermission.
Was also a Friday.
Well,
Broadcast times were evenings for those, though. All of those.
Their local time would have been evening.
Saturday morning.
And so for us, it would have been Saturday morning when it played for us. But for them, it was Friday.
No, they're ahead of us on time zones, bud.
My point is, the date I'm reading is the date that it was there. Not the date that it played here, but the date that it played was there.
Oh, really? So it would have been after sundown or something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. So, June 7th, 2019.
There's some of the...
And here I thought it was live. I thought it was live. It's not live?
Oh, I don't think this one is. I mean, if they're 12...
I thought they all were live. I thought when we were watching them, it was live.
I'm going to look at the time difference. So,
because it was always like
Eastern.
I remember for us, it always was starting at like 11, but that might have been the kickoff show was like 11, so noon Central or maybe noon Eastern. I don't know.
Yeah, it was noon Eastern.
Oh, there's an 8-hour difference. It's not a 12-hour difference.
Mm-hmm.
8 hours ahead in Saudi Arabia.
October 31st, 2019 was a Thursday. So this might have been when they switched to Thursdays. February 27th was a Thursday. So, anyways, doesn't matter in the end. I'm not watching it, and I'm tired of looking up dates. So, but yeah. So that Becky sort of saved that segment. I say sort of because the segment was still shitty, but it was slightly less shitty because of her. And like I said, I'll say for the same thing I said about bringing out Goldberg, you bring out Lita. This must be the time that you're like, oh, let's pop some ratings with a bunch of fucking legends. I guess let's count our lucky stars that it wasn't Summer Rae coming out to challenge Becky. Thing.
Or Michelle McCool.
Hey, no, whoa, hold on. Michelle McCool was very talented.
Still don't want to see that WrestleMania.
Maybe The Undertaker comes out. Gives the tombstone to Becky.
I'm still okay not seeing it.
Yawn.
Then we get Seth Undertaker as Undertaker's final match in WWE.
I could be down with that.
Good night.
And a Hell in a Cell.
Good night.
You can take a nap right here.
Go sleep right here. Good night. But, anywho's, what else happened on Raw aside from boring Ronda Rousey?
Well, let's talk Kendrick. Was there any more that we know from after Wednesday of him not showing up?
It had nothing to do with him not showing up. He got canceled.
Right. I mean, after that, though, after him apologizing, did we learn any more?
He came out with a vague non-apology. And
I never believed in this. Like, yeah, bro, you're on camera.
No one believes it. You're on camera. And not just you're on camera for this, but you're also on camera multiple times with a lot of your other problematic views. But this one here, Holocaust denial is it's up there.
Well, I mean, Holocaust denial is actually a step farther than something that's been all over the news recently and saying that it's not a race-based thing.
Yeah, it is.
So
it is a huge step.
It's literally a step beyond that.
Yeah. Here's the deal. Saying it's not
never happened.
Yeah. Saying it's not a race-based thing is it's
a
ignorance.
Issue.
It's just not understanding that Judaism is an ethno religion. It's both a race and a religion. Yes. You can be born Jewish. ethnicity, or you can convert to Judaism religiously. But it is. But on top of it, that's also ignoring the fact that Jewish people were not the only people the Nazis were going after.
Oh yeah, I mean they were killing anything that wasn't Aryan.
Yeah, anything that did not fit their definition of the master race, the Aryan race, they were going after. So Romanis, Africans, pretty much anything that did not fit their thing, and therefore it was a race thing. But like you said, Holocaust denial just in general is a step farther from it.
Millions of people weren't killed.
Yes.
Or I guess in his instance, 75,000.
Mm-hmm. And so his non-apology is not flying with most people. Yeah. I mean, ultimately, it's a weird world we live in that I can even say this phrase. But the Insane Clown Posse showed us what a real apology looks like. And that's so weird for me to actually say that. But
you're obviously a juggalo.
Yeah, I can see it. I'm 100. Yeah, you can tell.
Yeah, the face paint and everything's there.
Whoop, whoop.
In fact, you still have some left on your face.
Yeah, it's all over.
Well, and I never got
that might have been from you pretending to be Danhausen.
I also never got why no one apologizes with a video. It could work for you, and it could also work against you.
Because the apologies go through publicists, right? The publicists have to, and publicists. And so doing a video is so much back and forth with the publicists before they finally approve it that this way you just write out. But here's the deal. It was a non-apology. It was, there's a difference between saying, I'm sorry I said something and saying, I'm sorry you were offended by what I said. Right.
One of them is that you also say, I never believed these things.
So the first thing is he didn't accept responsibility for saying anything, and then he pawns it off as I didn't ever believe it. Now here's the counter argument when I say that the Insane Clown Posse can teach us a lot about delivering an apology. And this was apparently a while ago that this happened, but there was an interview with Violent J. And they mentioned the fact that they asked him specifically about the fact that some of their previous raps, their earlier raps, used homophobic slurs, specifically the F1, back and forth, calling people F-bombs, so on and so forth, right? Mm-hmm. And this is Violent J of the Insane Clown Posse responding in this interview. He says, at the same time, we were also crazy homophobic back in the day. And now my daughter says, Dad, why did you say this? And I say, because your dad was a fucking fool. I hate to blame Ice Cube, but we wanted to be like Ice Cube. We wanted to be like Gangsta Rap. And Gangsta Rap said it all the time. And we had a gay producer. Our producer was gay, and he didn't seem to give a fuck. It was the three of us in the studio, night and day, making these albums. It was just something that didn't come up. It was just part of life back then. We wanted to be hardcore, and that's what we did, And when I look back on it now, what can I say? We don't have an excuse. I can tell you this. There was never a time when I had a problem with gay people. It was just the word being thrown around, like asshole. It was just something that we called each other all the time. Just a bunch of dumbasses. And the amount of gay juggalos out there is really surprising. I think about them doing their research and getting into the old records and getting excited about it and then getting their hearts broke or something, So I tell my daughter, for the rest of your life, when your friends ask you why your dad said that, say it's because your dad was a fool. Don't defend me. Say I was a fool then, but I'm not now. There's no excuse. I was going with the flow, and that's the very thing we preach against, being a sheep. And that's what I was doing, right? So
there was a little bit of the I have a black friend though.
But at the same point, he followed it up by saying, I have no excuse. We don't have an excuse.
Correct.
Right? Yeah. He said we were going with the flow, but that's not an excuse. right? In the end, I was a fool then, and I'm not now, right? And that's all Brian Kendrick would have had to say to make his apology fly. Say, listen, 10 years ago, I said some stuff out of ignorance. Since then, I've learned more. I've grown as a person, and I no longer believe that. And I want to apologize for it. And then, because I think almost all of us believe in second chances. Almost all of us believe that a person can grow. Because all of us can look back at our youth and realize that we said things or did things or laughed at things that now we don't think are funny and we think are offensive, right?
Sure.
Right.
Right? All of us, speaking for three men on this podcast, probably at one point in our life laughed at some misogynistic joke.
I made one a week ago, 2 weeks ago.
Jesus.
Yeah.
It was horrible, and I knew it was horrible. And I kind of was sorry then, but I'm not super sorry.
But
well, you're kind of ruining his point. Just let him talk.
No, because his point's correct. Like, sometimes we say stupid shit.
Mm-hmm. And even getting away from misogyny or homophobia or fucking racism or anti-Semitism, it's as simple as this. If you say something to someone, right? If I call D.A. Fabe a fucking idiot and he gets offended by it, right? It's my job to apologize and say, dude, man, I'm sorry I said that.
I shouldn't have said it.
I shouldn't have said it.
I'm sorry that you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah. I'm sorry you were offended by me calling you a fucking idiot. Why did you get offended when I called you a fucking idiot?
Well,
the truth hurts.
Yeah. And that's the deal is
just kidding, man.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
I never believed you were a fucking idiot.
Yeah. I literally, it's the same conversation you have to have with your children.
Yeah.
You know, exactly. I have recently had to tell my 8-year-old, just kidding, or just playing, or I'm so, I was just joking. That doesn't work, man. Like, sometimes you got to think about what's coming out of your mouth.
It's an active thing I'm doing with my 4-year-old right now. Yeah. Sometimes once things are broken, they can't be fixed, right?
Did you do the plate thing with her? The plate thing? Did you break a plate?
I didn't do that. The simple fact is she'll bring me a toy that she broke. And I'll look at her and I say, I don't think I can fix this. Sometimes things are broken, can't be fixed. You need to think about what you're doing before you do it. Because if it breaks something, you might not be able to fix it. And that's the truth with relationships, right? Mm-hmm. You break a friendship, you may never be able to repair it. Right? You break a relationship with a certain group of people, whether it's homosexuals or Jewish people or any
guys
minority,
named Gunther.
Guys named Gunther. District attorneys. You may never be able to repair that. But the key to at least starting to repair a relationship is an actual apology, not I'm sorry you were hurt by it. I'm sorry you were hurt by it instead of I'm sorry I hurt you. That it's very clear there. One is you, one is I. I'm sorry I hurt you. How hard is that? So, but in the end, I think Brian Kendrick has to at least understand that his career is
over.
It is
over.
It was already on the downhill, I think, and this didn't help it. And if he wants to have a final run, he needs to come up with a better apology than that.
Or he's going to be a tool. Go on the indies and have an anti-Semitic gimmick, which will hopefully bury him in today's climate.
Yeah.
And I don't now. Okay, and listen, no one really gave Brian Kendrick the time of day, like ever, kind of thing, and no one necessarily.
Brian Kendrick.
Pre-WWE Brian Kendrick was some big fucking deal.
Yeah.
I am.
And in 205 Live, WWE was.
WWE really didn't use Brian Kendrick very well.
But this more wasn't my point. My point of saying that was, now, perhaps you don't remember these things and whatever of what you said 10 years ago or a tweet that you did or whatever. But I am sorry. Why wouldn't you try to, now I'm not saying it's right, but why wouldn't you try to think about all the stuff that you did do and try to remove it before, hey, AEW calls or you get a real big thing, because you know they're going to really look into your entire history as a person.
I mean, in reference to that, this was a physical DVD. This was released as a DVD for sale. And so, I mean, you got to remember, 2013 was early days for streaming media still. Like, streaming media was out there. I'm not saying it wasn't, but DVDs were still the big thing. And this was recorded for I'm going to use air quotes around the phrase company that specialized in conspiracy theory videos.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and say one thing out loud. Stupid still sells. We just had Jackass on Royal Rumble.
And
you've watched both seasons of Tiger King, JLB. I've watched one season. Smarks has watched a couple episodes. Stupid still sells.
I half watched a couple episodes because my wife was watching it. But yeah.
I also do plan on watching Jackass forever. So, fair.
Yeah. I mean, here's the deal. He could have had an apology where he said, listen, I was hired to do this video where I talked about conspiracy theories. And I chose to, on that video, lean into the conspiracy theory of Holocaust denial. And I'm sorry I did. There's an apology there that would have worked. But the thing is, he didn't do anything.
And kind of blaming, yeah.
That would have at least kind of worked, because it would have said, listen, I chose to play into this conspiracy theory of Holocaust denial because it would have sold, more copies of the DVD, because I was hired to be on this DVD. That's still, kind of rubbing it off, but at least it's saying, I did this, instead of, sorry you were offended by it, I never believed it, right? And so until he gives a real apology, I as good as Brian Kendrick is in the ring, he can fucking choke for all I care right now. But if he comes along with a real contrite apology, I still think he has to kind of earn his way back now. But he at least would have a path forward at that point. But anyways, trying to think if there was anything else that really happened in the world of professional wrestling.
There is. There's one more thing.
Okay.
Swoggle called out Peter Dinklage.
He did.
No, I'm not gonna name the show he went on, because I know Smarks would be like, don't even give that credit, so I won't. But Swoggle did a great interview about, hey, Peter Dinklage.
Yeah.
Some people are looking for their future jobs.
Yeah.
And this is how they might get them.
So there's a few things that kind of come from this. It's I don't think Swoggle actually read the interview Peter Dinklage gave. I don't think anyone did. They read the headline and ran with it. Because
I listened to the interview Peter Dinklage.
If you actually, the point Peter Dinklage was making was not, we shouldn't have dwarfs in movies. It was that we need to update the presentation of dwarfs to not lean so heavily into midget stereotypes. It also, there's a point to be made that Peter Dinklage, I think, is hovering around, that I think Swoggle's overlooking as well. But in the end, I'm going to point out that this is 3 regular-sized people talking here.
Well,
who are not...
We've never met JLB face-to-face.
True. But we don't really have a say in this. It's not our argument to get into. This is something, but I think ultimately Peter Dinklage's argument was based around this, right? The goal that we should be going for in a country is not not limiting dwarfs, not limiting little people to just playing dwarfs and little people in movies.
I would agree with that, but
that's the goal that he's looking for. So the goal that he's looking
take
for,
jobs away to prevent from having. I believe Swoggle referred to it as cultural appropriation, and you're not appropriating when you need a shorter person for a job.
Well, you are and you aren't, because here's the deal: in modern age, I mean, a perfect example is almost none of the dwarfs or hobbits in Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit were actually little people. They were not, right?
Yeah, I think that's crap.
They used photographic techniques to make people appear smaller and people appear bigger, right? Here's the thing, and this is, I think, what Peter Dinklage's ultimate argument is, right? We need to get to a point where we look at a little person and say, you can be the leading man. You don't have to be the resident little person in this movie. But there's a broader scheme to this, right? That I think is a conversation, and this is a weird conversation for us to be talking about in a wrestling show. And it's also one that we don't exactly have the say in. But in the end, because the same conversation happens when talking about mental illness in movies and Hollywood, when talking about trans representation in Hollywood, when talking about gay representation in Hollywood, when talking about any disabilities representation in Hollywood. And the argument always is based on this. If you let whatever this specific minority that's talking about, if we let non-people play that role, then we're taking roles away from the people represented by that role, right? So if we let non-trans people play trans people in movies, we're taking roles away from trans people. But the ultimate goal we should be looking forward to in this culture, in this society, is to the point where it's not about taking roles away from them. It's about allowing them to play roles that are also not based on that, right?
So
letting
things like a Barney Stinson, a womanizer, who's actually in real life a gay man.
Yes. Or I mean, the one that always kind of comes up is them talking about Jared Leto playing a trans in Dallas Buyers Club, I believe it was, right? And he got nominated for an Oscar for it, I believe.
Well, I mean, Sean Penn even playing I Am Sam.
Sean Penn and I Am Sam, that gets brought up, but that was kind of pre this conversation, but that gets brought up. But in the end, those get brought up. But what we really need to talk about, because they say, oh, that Jared Leto took a role away from a trans person.
Ben Affleck playing a blind guy. That's
Ben Affleck playing a blind guy. You know, all this. But in the end, what we need to say is, why are we not allowing trans people to play non-trans roles? Why are we not allowing, I mean, there are a lot of high-functioning special needs people who could play roles that are not based on them having Down syndrome or whatever, right? And that's the goal as a society I think we need to move towards, is instead of saying we need to only hire trans people to play trans people, we need to start pivoting towards, we need to stop limiting trans people to only playing trans roles. We need to stop limiting little people to only playing little people roles. We need to stop limiting blind people to only playing blind roles, so on and so forth, right? And that's, I think that's what Peter Dinklage was really trying to get to in his thing, is saying we need to get to a point where little people can play any role in a movie.
And Disney's reaction was, we won't hire just all dwarves for the seven dwarves, which was which is where the fault lies. And I think that's what Swoggle was saying.
And
hey, we can still fill these roles as well.
I think the other thing is, again, Peter Dinklage was also talking a lot about the stereotypes that play into the dwarf characters in movies.
Correct. And they're only minors, and
they're minors. They're obsessed with gold, or stuff like that. Which a lot of those actually come from Jewish stereotypes, and it's why a lot of in historical stories the dwarf characters were often depicted with stereotypically Jewish features like the large nose and the stereotypical obsession with money, all of these things that are based in racist Jewish stereotypes. And I think that's where Peter Dinklage's real point was. He wasn't saying don't hire little people to play dwarfs. He's saying don't make the dwarfs stereotypes.
Who was the leprechaun in the Leprechaun movie? Really bad movie.
I'm gonna have to look up. I think
four of them. They're horrible.
Yeah, they're all bad.
Bro, there's 7 of them. Are you kidding me?
But
Leprechaun Space was the last one, huh?
No, not even. There was a remake in 2018.
I thought Warwick Davis played it.
That name sounds familiar.
One of them. But I have to check to see.
I want to hear Brad Williams weigh in on this one. That's what I want. Probably one of the
honestly, at the end of the day, I don't care who plays the role, as long as you respect the role that you're playing and you do your research and it ends up being good on camera. I don't care if you're short, you're tall, you're whatever. I also want to see a good actor play this role. That's all I want.
I only brought it up because I want to see Peter Dinklage and Hornswoggle fight.
That's fair. I would also like to see that, preferably in GCW.
Okay, Warwick Davis's
filmography trained with a sword from Game of Thrones, so that could be bad in GCW.
I mean,
yes, he was Leprechaun in Leprechaun 1 through 4. Wait, no, I don't think that's part of the Leprechaun thing. He was back in Leprechaun Back to the Hood, or in the Hood and Back to the Hood. So I think that's 5 and 6.
And then the space one was 7.
So I'm trying to see if he came back for 7 or not.
Just IMDb Leprechaun.
I am on Warwick Davis's Wikipedia page, so I will find it. I don't think he was in the space one. It's not showing up here.
And it was some other guy doing the 2018 one because that Leprechaun just looks so weird. Oh, jeez. And Warwick Davis is a short guy?
Yes. He is a little person. He also was Wicket in Return of the Jedi, and Return of the Ewok, the TV one, and Caravan of Courage, the Ewok Adventure, and Ewoks: The Battle for Endor. He was a goblin in Labyrinth. He was Willow in Willow, one of the greatest movies of all time.
Oh my gosh, fantastic movie. Where really you didn't have to have that character be played by a little person.
No.
And because of his exceptional acting skill, he got that role.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It may have been written that way, but that character didn't have to be a little person.
Yeah.
And I'm glad it was. Because he was great in that movie. He's great.
He was Professor Flitwick in Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, and then also played a goblin bank teller and
a goblin bank teller.
Yes, it's another one of the examples of the anti-Semitic, racist overtones in a lot of goblin and depictions in history is, and a lot of people try to aim that at J.K. Rowling's, and she's got a lot of problems to aim at. But in this one here, her depiction of goblins is based more off historical depictions, which again had a lot of racist overtones, anti-Semitic overtones. So
Willows from 1988.
Rusty
Goffey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you have never seen it, you should watch it.
It's Val Kilmer in also one of his better roles. I mean, it's not Iceman, and it's not Tombstone. Doc Holliday, but it might be third in the
much better than Island of Dr. Moreau.
He's a farmer and a magician.
Mm-hmm. Willow is the absolute bomb. It's so good. Trying to think what else Warwick Davis did. I keep saying Warwick Davis. I think it's pronounced Warwick.
Yeah.
But it's spelled Warwick, with a W in it. And I'm a dumb American who pronounces words as they're written because.
Yes, you are a dumb American.
No, you don't. What month are we in?
February.
You struggled.
And in a few days, it will be Wednesday.
No, but what are you talking about? In 2 days, it's Tuesday.
Tuesday. Yes, that's how
actually in a couple weeks. It's Tuesday. 2/22 of 22.
It's gonna be Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Oh, Lordy, look at us.
But I don't care what you think about that.
What? Whip.
People have made fun of me because I do put a lot of "huh" in my whats.
Why do you do that?
Because there's a W and an H in it, so it's pronounced what. See, my pop filter has a hard time with it.
Because
what?
I'd like to. You didn't say because there though. You said because there's an H in it.
No, because that's spelled BECUZ. Because.
Because.
Oh, Jesus. So wrestling.
God, I'm trying to think what else, if there anything went on that was worth it. Fucking
Goldberg challenge.
Yeah, no, I don't care about that.
No, we're not doing that.
No. Fucking Matt Cardona beat Jordan Grace for the Impact Digital Media Championship.
Nice.
So he's been lording that around all fucking week.
God, he's such a great asshole. Who knew?
He is so good at being unlikable. But he tweeted something out, and Jesus, Twitter, I don't want to learn about NFTs. Sorry.
You sure?
Every time I go to my profile, it's like, learn about NFTs. You can sell NFTs. I'm like, fuck it. I don't want to. Stop it. But yeah, every time Jordan Grace has tweeted out anything since Thursday when Impact aired and he won, she tweeted out, I got a personal best on squats this week or whatever. And he'd be like, I'm your new digital media champion. That was his response every time. It was pretty good. I'm trying to get back and find it here because this was like it's in my replies, I think. Someone posted something, and it was a list like who was the best in Hammerstein Ballroom of all time. And it had like 3 or 4 people on it. And I just commented, no, at Matt Cardona, this list is rigged. And he likes that. So I'm like pretty big deal now.
You are. Yep. Matt Cardona likes you.
Mm-hmm.
And you had your picture taken with his wife.
Yep.
Yeah, you should actually send him the picture. Hey, Cardona, I'm better than you are.
Oh, that's
This
something.
my lady now.
That's something to talk about. AEW announced this week the CD. It's in pre-order right now. It's coming out. Or I say CD album. The Who We Are, in celebration of Black History Month. It is a hip hop / R&B / I don't know what else album featuring a lot of like well-known.
I'm just here for Max Caster.
Artists. But a lot of relatively well-known and other well-known artists collaborating with current African-American AEW stars to tell their stories in some way. And the proceeds go to the Bootsy Collins Foundation. And Bootsy, if you don't know offhand, I guarantee you've heard at least one song he's featured in. He is a bass player from the great Parliament Funkadelics. He's done a lot of other stuff, but the thing most people will know him from is he's responsible for that bass line in Groove is in the Heart. Bootsy is awesome. So, but yes, Max Caster gets his own track called Mixed Messages, the Max Caster story. But there's a one that's Red Velvet story, Lee Moriarty story, Nyla Rose story, Sonny Kiss story, Jay Lethal story, Jade Cargill story, Ricky Stark story, Sean Dean story, Max Caster, Brandy Rhodes story, the Bootsy Collins Foundation, Anthony Bowen story, Anthony Agogo story, Private Party story, Mark Henry story, Top Flight story, Will Hobbs story, Kira Hogan story, Lee Johnson story, and Scorpio Sky story. 21 total tracks on it. When you get to it, Will Washington, Wrestle and Flow, which that's kind of fun to see because Wrestle and Flow, they went kind of viral on like YouTube and Twitter and TikTok. I think it was pre-TikTok when they really started doing raps about wrestling. They eventually were hired by WWE to be in NXT. Josiah Washington was his name. And he was one of their commentators and backstage and social media presence for NXT for a long time. And he was one of the people let go about a year ago. So for him to be on there. Anyway, I'm not super huge into a lot of hip hop, so there's a lot of names on here that I don't necessarily know. But I've seen some people online just going absolutely ape for some of the people on this, so it's kind of going to be a big deal. I'm excited to listen to some of the songs and expand my horizons a bit.
Will it actually be on streams, or is it just literally a physical?
To be perfectly honest, it will be released on streaming platforms in the near future. At its initial exclusive hardcover copy launch will directly benefit the Bootsy Collins Foundation. So it's going to be both, but I think it's going to start off hard copy and then eventually hit the streaming platforms.
I'd be down to even get that. I could probably get that at the AEW shop.
Yep. Pre-orders are now open at shopaew.com. 21 total tracks. So yeah, it's going to be. What I like is it's AEW expanding their horizons a bit more. You know, I think every couple of months AEW has done something that has just expanded them a bit more. You know, they started finally shipping their replica belts. I wish they would release a replica belt that wasn't $700. Because I can't quite justify that right now. But if they released a less, I mean, I understand quality's going to come down with price. You know what I mean? But you know, something in the $200 to $300 range, I might be able to find a way to justify, even if it's not quite as nice as the.
What's the album called again? Who We Are?
Who We Are: A Celebration of Excellence, Volume 1, which means they intend on it being a recurring thing at some point.
Nice. Damn. Apparently, you can't search for it.
But you know, like they started finally shipping their belts. Reviews I've seen of the replica belts are that they might be one of the best quality replica belts out there.
Oh wow!
Like
okay,
period.
that's saying something.
Like one of the people I follow, Wick Belts. He has got a YouTube channel and TikTok channel where he talks about his belt collection. He's got a fucking huge belt collection, and he got his in, and he says previously his top belt in terms of quality replica belts was the IWGP V4 that retailed for I think $2,000. And he said the AEW one is nicer than that, even though it's a quarter the price. You know, or not quite a quarter, a third the price. But I just can't justify quite that much right now. So
No, it's a lot.
But I would love for AEW to come out with a replica TNT title, replica women's title, a replica TBS title.
But the second women's title, not the first one.
Yeah. I think they need to do a third women's title because I saw a picture earlier today and it was Britt Baker and Jade Cargill standing side by side with their belts.
And the TBS
is huge compared to even the newer, bigger women's championship belt. It still looks tiny next to the TBS title. And I'm not saying the women's title isn't a good looking title. It's really good looking. It's just tiny. So, and I don't know. I just come from an era where championship belts were huge, like the big gold belt, or the big eagle belt. You know, that's what I grew up with. So that's what I want to see. I want to see these giant dinner plates. Anyway. But otherwise, I guess I've kind of run out of things to ramble on about. You guys have anything else you want to?
No.
Yeah, no, I think we kind of covered. I mean, maybe just the fact that apparently a lot of people also backstage are really upset with Big E's the fact that he's no longer being pushed as a main top guy anymore. And was just put in his New Day role was one thing I've also seen.
Well, yeah, I saw that too. I think the problem is because we know the way WWE thinks. WWE thinks that if you are in a tag team, which they view the New Day not as a faction but as a tag team with 3 people in it, that if you are in a tag team, you can't also be a main eventer in the singles, right?
I mean, unless they smash you together.
Yeah.
Like Hunter and Stone Cold.
Yeah. They just, for the most part, they're like, if you're in a tag team, you can't also be a main eventer, you know? So that's where the problem is, right? Which is stupid. Because
they had, the issue is they ripped apart a faction to do it. When they could have had the faction together the whole time.
Yeah.
And you could have had the table versus the New Day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the simple fact is, if you look down to when Hunter was booking NXT, you had the Undisputed Era draped in gold, right? And that was such a good storyline that they had the tag belts and the world title and the North American title.
And that's a faction with 2 former WWE champions.
Yeah. And that's the deal is, this could be a faction with Kofi, former WWE champion, and Big E, former WWE champion,
Xavier Woods, current King of the Ring,
and all of them former tag team champions at one time, right? So, but we just know that they're not
all of them former mid-card title holders.
But in the end, reports I hear, I'm not hearing them myself. I'm reading them. Reports I read online in the same place that anyone watching this show reads them. Because again, we've said this from the beginning. We don't have inside sources ourselves. We're just reading the same shit you are and then talking about it, right? But reports I see online say that WWE, the morale backstage is worse than it's ever been. Like, wrestlers are at their lowest. Aside from the handful of people who are getting big pushes or big money deals, like Kevin Owens, the vast majority of people are just waiting their time out so they can get out and try to go someplace else. And unfortunately, that's problematic from this standpoint. AEW, Impact, if Ring of Honor does come back like they plan on, there's still only so many spots open in those shows, you know? And so not everyone who leaves WWE is going to have a spot on one of those shows.
I would say right now the issue with all of that is that Vince doesn't know when to sell high, and so he's trying to create an environment that is sellable, because again, it's on the market. It's just he wants a particular price tag, so he's trying to justify the price tag through profits. And if you're, regardless of how much money a company you're investing in is making, sometimes Spotify goes down in stock value, regardless of how much it's worth, regardless of how much particular contracts are worth. And this is just a recent example that's in the news. Spotify goes down several or $100 in a few days because of the perception of the product at the time. And the perception of WWE's product right now is similar to that of Spotify's right now. Only WWE's been doing it for several years as a perceived degrading product. And again, I don't want to get into the politics part. The other one is, but at the end of the day, as a company, the perception of your product is that it's devaluing as time goes on, regardless of the fact that it's more profitable than it's ever been. How sustainable is this product now?
Yeah.
And right now, this product has its best competitor in 20 years and seems less sustainable than it has since its inception in the 80s.
Well, on top of it, there's a simple fact of this, right? When you're the only major game out there, right? Only major player in the game, you got some people unhappy under your employ. You can say, what are you going to do? Go someplace else? Yeah. And they'll grumble and then put in their work and do their stuff. But when you're no longer the number one player in the game or the only player in the game, right?
Yeah. You might still be the number one player in the game.
But when you're no longer the only player in the game, the only major player, these people, instead of just grumbling and do their job, they start grumbling and do a less good job, right? Unhappy employees do poorer work, period. And that's been shown by research time and time again. You keep your employees happier, they're going to do better work for you. So when you've got an entire backstage full of employees that are not happy at their jobs anymore, the quality of your program will go down. And we've already seen it a bit, but it's going to continue to go down unless you can address what's making them so unhappy. And right now, what's making them so unhappy is that you're shit at doing your jobs. You're shit at booking the thing.
Yeah, well, and they feel like they're going to lose their jobs. There are still people who were released 2 years ago that don't have a job. There are people who've chosen to only do by appearance stuff. Adam Scher just last week said, I really only want to do by appearance stuff now. I enjoy the free time I'm getting.
I think he's also full of shit. I don't think anyone necessarily wants to pay him all the money that he actually wants, so no one will hire him.
He did an appearance with Impact.
Yeah, as a one-off, because no one's going to agree to his...
He said he only wants to be one-offs. Okay. Regardless, that's what he said.
Right, no, for sure.
And Bo Dallas is not coming back to wrestling.
Yeah,
he wants to stay home. He's discovered that he likes being home.
Well, he has his own business too, right? I think in real estate and all that. So
at the end of the day, there are people who are afraid to lose their jobs. There are people who are going, okay, well, I'll go on to something else. I thank you for the payday. But not all of them feel that way right now. And I can tell you the fan perspective, or at least of three people, is why are you firing all these people? There are talented people on your rosters that you are letting go, that you are regulating to being a manager, i.e., Drake Maverick and the proposal to Adam Cole Bebe. These proposals, the product is not the best it's ever been, and you have competition, and you're openly trying to sell, and you have employees who don't really want to be there right now, who are either waiting out their contract and taking their payday and going to go the route of Adam Scher and Bo Dallas, or are going to find another job the route of maybe a Matt Cardona, maybe a John Moxley. You don't know, or maybe they don't. Maybe they're going, I'm probably not going to wrestle anymore because I was second hat to Swerve, because there's a couple of people, what was her name? B Fab. May or may not have a future in professional wrestling.
Yeah.
We didn't get very much exposure to her.
Yeah.
So
I want to talk a little bit about B-Fab and the fact that NXT has replaced basically her with someone else now on NXT. And she had already been called up to the main roster, but NXT this last week debuted, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago they debuted. It's new, and she's only, let's say as far as I've seen so far, she's only got 2 reasons for us to even care about her being on TV, and I'm using that number specific. It's an example of NXT going back to the Attitude Era sex sells concept. Because I don't see any other reason for her to be out there except for
skill and mic skills aren't exactly
except for the 2 surgically enhanced reasons that are very prevalent in her presentation.
Did you research that, or you're assuming that?
I have a hard time believing that they're natural. Let's just say it that way.
Oh, natural.
So, no, I just think I find it silly that we're in a position where we're supposed to watch WWE, and I can't get excited for fucking Elimination Chamber, and I'm a wrestling fan who pays for the service to watch Elimination Chamber and Royal Rumble and all that stuff. Like, and you expect investors to be into this? You expect your wrestlers, the people who literally live it? I mean, we talk at the very introduction of this show. We say the wrestlers and the bookers who do actually all the work, and the fans who endlessly nitpick what they're doing. Well, okay, so I'm going to give you the wrestlers and the bookers, but there's a third person or a third party there, and that's the non-fans who are actually in control of the wrestlers and bookers for WWE. Guys who literally say they aren't wrestling fans, who want to have an entertainment product, who are trying to sell this product either to us or to another owner. Yeah, I wouldn't want to work for that organization either.
Yeah, straight up.
I just wouldn't.
I mean,
right.
Look, Vince.
So long as you're going to pay me, I'll show up.
And
especially when it's that kind of money.
We've bitched about WWE for so long, and we've established for a while now that Vince has not cared. He literally just wants one final payday and off with the company. Yeah, well, at least that's what we're thinking, and so he doesn't care. So, and a lot of we keep talking about Finn Balor. Finn Balor at this point is just collecting his paycheck, and that's it. We've heard Dean Ambrose. We've heard Dean Ambrose
say he was literally depressed and he had to get out of there. Nothing would stop him from leaving because he just couldn't do it anymore. So it sucks for a wrestler's morale. And people like Kevin Owens is just looking out for his family. He doesn't care. He just goes there. He does whatever. He's doing good. He's entertaining. You know what I mean? He'll do whatever, but he knows he might just get pushed at one point back to just doing nothing. But hey, at least I got a good payday out of it. My family's going to be happy. My son's going to be able to get a great education. Let's go. That's you're no longer thinking about the wrestling business now and what you can do for it and how you can help. You're thinking about your future, because clearly, if anything WWE has shown is there's no future in this federation for anyone with all their firings. So,
well, yeah, nobody's safe, period. I mean, I guess Roman Reigns is probably safe. Seth Rollins likely safe, but other than that,
safe for now. You know what I mean? But Roman is or at least it was rumored, Roman has even hinted that he might go do movies and so on.
I mean, define safe. Are you safe if you're stuck somewhere you don't want to be?
Safe from being fired, right? That's what all I'm saying is I as of right now, and I will say for now, safe. Roman Reigns doesn't have to worry about being fired, but he's one of the few, right? Even with his new contract, I don't think Kevin Owens is safe.
No,
I
don't either.
I think Kevin Owens is there for as long as Vince McMahon feels he's keeping him away from AEW.
Yeah.
And again, the person who brought this up for us was Big E. Okay, so what is Big E's goal? Does he want to be a title holder? Does he want to be in the main event picture? But at the end of the day, this is a guy who's been part of a sale of something they were selling us for several years in the New Day. They no longer carry Bootios. We only get them in tag title pictures or poorly done or a mistake at the Royal Rumble. I mean, is Kofi safe right now? Could Kofi lose his job because of that? There's just I don't understand not selling what was selling. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you own a grocery store and you're selling out of Pop-Tarts, put more Pop-Tarts on the shelves, man.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Aren't they still one of the biggest draws though in the merchandise? Anyways?
Absolutely.
So
get them on TV more. Have them be a faction. Have them fight with your other big faction.
Yeah, well, I mean, they've done that enough. They've done that enough. New Day and USA. But I'm down to see it again.
Just
the
tag teams, yes. How much would you enjoy seeing Roman and Big E swap titles a couple times?
Oh, yeah, I would definitely enjoy that. But it looks like he's been pushed down. They had that opportunity to do that, right? But they didn't go with it.
How much would you enjoy seeing Jay beat Big E for the title and then Kofi take it off of Jay and Roman be in the tag team?
So
what?
So to get back to what I was talking about with the return to the T&A, not TNA, T&A time of WWE. It was an appearance by, and this is the thing, I don't think she was brought in to wrestle. I think she's a singer who was brought in to be a singer. But she apparently recorded the new theme song to NXT. And this is not the best picture I found, but it is a picture that I think exhibits exactly what
melons.
Yeah, what WWE is.
I like her hair.
Trying to because that like literally the only comment I saw online, and yes, online can be a shit show, but the only comments I saw online were about her appearance, and specifically the two. Oh, here's another.
I don't hear her singing right now, so.
Yeah, well,
we also don't want to get copyrighted.
So we're gonna stop that. I'm gonna go to a different picture that I'm opening, because this was actually the picture.
I hope you're wrong, and it's actually hers, and it's au natural.
Yeah, there's a lot of lift there.
You know, there was a lot of lift, but that's not what I wanted. It brought up a video rather than a picture, so I got to go back because there's a here. We'll do this picture because this is more. The first one of these is the picture that I first caught because she was brought out to sing the new NXT theme song. And
One of a kind.
So yeah, there's a certain amount of lift. I'm not saying there's not, but I'm also saying I'm still fairly confident that there is surgical enhancement on that. And that's fine. I'm not against surgical enhancement, right? I am saying that this is, I think,
a good example of Vince running everything.
Of the way that NXT is going. This is the sort of image that they're trying to go for.
Because, love the Shawn Michaels pants.
Because she came out and performed, and then this week they had a promo from a wrestler who her gimmick is that she's also a hip-hop singer, and so she's going to feud with this singer, even though this singer is not a wrestler. And so whether this singer ever actually wrestles or if it's all going to be virtual feud, I don't know. But I think it's an example of NXT going in a direction that I am not excited for them to go. That's all. The fact that the only stuff I heard online were about physical features and not about whether she sang well or not is an example of, I think, part of the problem here, because I think they didn't bring her in because she was a great singer. They didn't bring her in. Her name is Ollie J. OLLIEJAYY. Ollie J. Whether I hope it's just me overreacting to something. Wouldn't be the first time, but for NXT to go so quickly from being the one part of WWE that made me excited every week to being the part of WWE that makes me cringe almost the most is indicative of problems. So, but I guess on that note, we've talked for a little over 2 hours, rambled on and on about this and that. If you joined us for the live stream, thank you. If you are listening to us on replay, either on the video replay or on podcast audio form, thank you for doing that. We would appreciate a like, a share, and a subscribe. That's the best way to help us out. Let other people know about us. Let other people know that we are live every Sunday night at 10:30 Central and every Tuesday night at 10:30 Central to talk wrestling and have fun. If you can join us, we're on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch now. Join us on there. Join us in the chat. We'd love to have you. The more the merrier in that way. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and close the book on this today. So yeah, make sure to follow us on the social media. You can follow me at pretty much any place, Facebook, Twitter, well, not Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, at Raw and Order WBU. It's the Twitch TV, Raw and Order WBU is the handle there. The only place that it's different is it's at Pissant Podcast on Facebook, because for some reason they wouldn't let me do at Raw and Order WBU. Don't know. But so you can follow us anywhere there. You can follow DA Fabe at
DA Vincent K. Fabe, right
there.
You gotta read that
right
direction.
there.
Don't read this direction, because otherwise it's Ibafkinad.
I didn't know you spoke German.
9.
Damn you, Gunther!
Damn you, Gunther! How is it in NXT now, by the way?
How is NXT?
Like with Gunther.
He's still a badass.
He's still a badass. Mm-hmm. I mean, he didn't change who he was. He just now has a dumber name. Okay. But the problem is, I think they're going to give him a 3-week push, and then he's going to disappear. And they're going to focus on, because their whole thing is trying to focus on the next generation. So Braun Breaker is going to get a big push, and Carmelo.
He's had a big push. That dude's good.
He's good. He's remarkably good for someone who's as green in professional wrestling as he is. You're never. Yeah, he grew up in it, so you're never really green when it's your background growing up, and you're the son of one of the greatest tag team wrestlers of all time, and the nephew of the other half of that tag team. But at the same point, the fact that he didn't actively train in wrestling until just now, he's remarkably good for that. But the fact that they're taking established wrestlers like Io Shirai and kind of pushing them to the side in favor of the next generation. They're taking some people. I wanted to see what's her new name now? Katie Lee, I think is her name. She was the one who played the evil Asian person bossing around Xia
supporter or whatever. Yeah.
She played that character, and then when that all stopped and everything, they brought her back now as this Katie Lee, and she wrestles in a footy onesie, and her finishing maneuver is a diving I'm gonna fall asleep thing. It's absolutely hilarious, so I'll give them that. But it's a really 180 gimmick change that I wasn't prepared for when I saw. So but no, NXT, I mean, it's like I said, it's just the thing I used to be excited for WWE each week, and now I kind of dread turning it on because I just don't know whether it's going to be a absolute nightmare fuel for me. But anyways, we will be back in a few days with our Fantasy Booking Institute. So if you want to join us and challenge us to book some sort of fantasy in the chat, we did it last week. We had a lot of fun with it. So join us, like I said, 10:30 Central on Facebook and YouTube and Twitch. So join us there. But on that news, we are going to make sure to check the links in the doobly-doos for the merch store where you can get the hat or the t-shirt or the all the stuff like that. We mentioned it before, but it's Raw and Order WBU at .myspreadshop.com. Jesus. We also have a Patreon. You can join there. Links in the doobly-doo. All of that stuff. But the biggest thing, like, share, and subscribe. But on that note, we are going to go ahead and close the book. Thank you all for being here. We will see you soon.